Hello and welcome to the Rask Network. What you're about to hear and see is limited to general financial information only. Please be sure to speak to your financial planner or refer to our financial services guide available at rask.com.au/FSG before acting on the information.
Hello and welcome back to the Australian Finance Podcast. I'm your host, Kate Campbell, and I'm joined with my co-host today, Owen Rask and Monique Pizzica.
Hello.
Hello, Kate. It's good to be here for Money and Chill, and always with Mini Pizza.
Yeah, that's me.
That's Pizza Car. That's the name.
Pizza car.
Yeah. Okay. Great. It's wonderful.
For everyone listening that has not heard our discussions for the last 20 minutes, none of that will make any sense. But that's why we have our Money and Chill episode once a month where we talk about things that are a little bit less serious. We share some of our money hacks, how we've spent money or saved money this month. Often it's spent. But anyway, hopefully we've saved a bit this month to share with you. We share what we've been reading. We share some news behind the scenes about what we're up to at Rask HQ, and just a little bit less serious than all of our episodes. There's plenty in the back catalogue. If you do want more serious finance episodes, we've released episodes recently on our top share investing lessons, high interest savings accounts, all sorts of things. So there's plenty there.
One of our most popular episodes of recent times was 10 years. Lessons learned from 10 years of ETF investing. And you can check that out on YouTube. That's been super. And there's really good episodes coming up down the pike, as they say. That's a saying that some people still use, Kate.
Is it?
It is, yes. Of my ilk, they do. So
you're not that much older than all of us.
You know, the wisdom.
Owen acts like he's 50 sometimes.
I look like I'm 60.
You really don't.
Yeah. But anyway,
he said he
people
had
are just now going to go
morning.
Google that. People are going to be like, oh, how old is this guy?
Well, I bet
he's
there's
60.
a search result of how old is Owen. You know, when you type something and you can see the commonly asked questions on Google, maybe that's one.
Maybe it is. We'll find out by the end of the show. But we do also have a really important topic, which we did allude to last month. And mea culpa, that was my mistake, because I did say that I'm going to start my financial detox this month. Even got Pocketsmith, our newest sponsor of the Australian Finance Podcast, on board. And turns out it didn't happen this month. But I did start culling. So we will share some detox-related things. The reason it didn't happen is because I refinanced my mortgage. Went from Bank of Melbourne, thank you, dearly departed, to National Australia Bank. And that is actually, you know, we pay a lot in finance, convenience tax for having all your stuff in one place. They tend to get you. But in this instance now, I've got all the different companies, our mortgage, all of that in one place. We still use ING for day-to-day banking. And there's a few other things that we've introduced, which I'll go through in a moment. But I was basically waiting for that to then start with Pocketsmith. So now we're kind of all systems go. Full steam ahead, Kate.
The refinance kind of took over your life the last month. So
yeah, there's been a lot going on there. Like we spoke on the Australian Property Podcast about how refinancing is vital, but then we also talked about it from a business owner's perspective on the Australian Business Podcast. That's with the guy called Ben Sum. It's a really good episode. If you're a small business owner, a medium-sized business owner, whether you're a sole trader, a company, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to check that episode out, because in that episode, Ben and I talked about like the ways you can use your property for security, which obviously has some risks attached to it, but you can also use your property for business loans, for investing in your company or for investing in your business or a new business. And there are risks, of course, but that was something that Ben kind of educated me on over the last 6 months. And I was really grateful for him to come on and talk about that for a show. So go and check that out. But yeah, it's been full steam ahead in terms of doing some cutting and culling before we do officially move on to Pocketsmith as a household. But you two have also shined your axe. You've sharpened it and you've taken it to some of your bank statements. So Kate, let's start with you. What have you been cutting?
yes, well, this month I've been detoxing some
what an elegant way to say
subscriptions. Cutting, I guess it's the same thing.
Hacking.
$18 saved on cancelling binge.
Hey, we need like a round of applause sort of sound here, Monique. But
Yeah.
you go on. Yeah, $18 on binge.
Yep. I got a Disney Plus
No more binge.
subscription. I think I mentioned it a month or two ago, but I've got 6 months for free at
Yeah,
the
I got
moment.
that too,
through-
thanks to you actually. Yep.
Yep.
Which one was this? Well, talk to me.
Oh, well, I don't know if we want to mention providers here.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can.
But CBA have all these, I don't know if it's because of the home loan or if it's just the platform, but they have all these extra deals and offers.
Like in the marketplace
just the
thing.
it's just the platform because I got my home loan off Commonwealth.
Yeah.
And it's still there.
Yeah. So they had lots of things if you sign up, but they were even sweeter than the average ones you'd find on the internet. So 6 months free of Disney Plus, and you didn't have to be a new
So one of those
subscriber.
like ad-supported tiers, is it? Like where they're like, we're going to experiment with putting ads in front of everyone. Let's give it to CBA to sell.
No, there haven't
not one
been
of those
any
ones?
ads.
No,
Are you guys
ads.
both with the big yellow bank?
Yeah, that's
Oh my
like
God.
what I've always been with.
Not for saving, but
Yeah, interesting. I feel
for
like
other stuff. Yeah.
I'm under attack at now here. Go on. So binge $18. Gotcha. And you
Hey,
got Disney
sometimes
Plus.
big banks do a good job. At
Yeah, they
some
do.
Things.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Nat.
Yeah. So that is going on, but I've put a notification in my calendar to cancel that because I don't necessarily want multiple streaming services.
So you took up the good offer, and then in 6 months you've gone, hey Siri, set calendar reminder for X. Yeah, cool.
You should
I
always
all the
do
time.
that. If you ever do one of those free subscriptions, but they take your credit card details, make sure you know when it's going to change into a paying subscription and put a notification in your calendar a month or a week out to cancel that.
I did that with KO recently. Yeah, not going to lie. K got me. AFL finals. Gosh.
Yeah. KO's expensive.
First
too.
thing I did when I got into our house a few years ago was rip the antenna off the roof. I'm like, who's going to use this thing? And then the footy finals roll around. I'm like, God damn it.
So, funny story, slightly diverting. My antenna in my house, there's something wrong with it. So I have this really long cord that connects to the antenna, but it's in my wardrobe.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's like this 10-meter long cord that goes through my whole little apartment. But you can't turn the lights on because it somehow cuts out the antenna.
So you have to watch the football
Choose
in the
lights,
dark.
lights or footy.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a COVID situation that year. And
So next
when that
weekend's
happened-
going to be a vibe at your place.
well, I'll just go to the pub.
That's probably a better solution
Yeah.
there than getting a new antenna installed.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't even think about going to the pub. Yeah, because there's all streaming rights. Some people don't know this. Like, even though you can watch, like, say, we're AFL fans here in Victoria, even though it says that you can watch it on Channel 7, that doesn't mean you can stream it on the Channel 7 app on your smart TV because the streaming rights are like KO.
Yeah.
So you have to have the paid version or the Fox one for that. So it's just like, so annoying.
Yeah.
If only I kept that really ugly, hideous antenna on top of my
Well,
roof.
maybe you have to go to the pub too next weekend.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Yes. So you've replaced Binge with Disney, which is a pretty good choice, to be honest.
But
Binge does have some
honestly,
good stuff.
I'm barely watching anything because uni is kicking my butt. But anyway, I also found a local coffee shop that's doing $1 small, $2 medium coffees if you go between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. So just trying to drum up some extra business.
$2 shout out. Who is this cafe? Do you know the name of it off the top
I
of your
know
head?
the name of it, but I'm
You
not
don't
going
want
to
to give up
dox
your secret
myself.
sauce? Oh, yes. Okay, fair enough. No doxing. There's new rules around that. So coffee shop that is somewhere in Australia does coffees for $2. Okay, cool. Like it.
But it just reminds you to look out for things in your local area where there might be a happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and you get half price drinks. And so if you can organise your catch up at that time, you may as well.
You both do, in addition to being Yellow Bank people, you also are, you guys do that meal deal down on Flinders Lane here, right? Where you
I
get
haven't
like,
done that in ages.
isn't it like $10
I
or
don't even know
$8
what
or
it is these days. It used to be $7.
Are you talking about the De Graves
Yeah.
Street? Yeah. They used to do, back when I started working in the city maybe 5 years ago, they were doing $5 for an egg and bacon muffin and a coffee, but I think it must be close to $10 now. It was
Crazy
slowly
inflation.
increasing.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, it was a lot more and it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
I've been trying to make my own breakfast.
But that's a good, if you can do a meal deal like that, there are some good specials around. Eat
Yeah.
healthy, of course.
There's
people.
usually like $15 deals here and there, which is
Yeah.
not terrible.
Yeah. Okay, what else you've got for us?
I tried looking at changing my NBN to see if there was a better deal, but I found out that I was on the best deal for me. So that was $80 a month for the amount of users and for doing work and streaming and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't find a better deal, or there were better deals, but they only worth for 3 months or 6 months with a honeymoon period. And for saving $5 a month, it wasn't worth switching back. So
Yeah.
I'm sticking with where I am. I also looked if I could find a better monthly phone plan than $25, but I couldn't. So that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
What else am I doing this month? I'm trying to be super mindful about my grocery and food expenses because I found myself doing the top-up shop quite regularly and just buying an extra thing here or there. And it definitely adds up when you buy it from your local IGA instead of going to Coles. So writing every single thing down. I'm only doing it for a month. It's a bit manual, but every day I'm writing what I've spent on food or groceries that day, and then I've got an ongoing tally. So it's just forcing me to be a bit more mindful and slow down and think about what I'm spending and how it's adding up over the month.
Wait. Walk us through this. So you say you do it daily. So you write down.
At the end of each day or when I'm home, I'll write down the date. I'll write down the location or where I went, how much I spent, and then the current running tally.
Oh, right. Okay. It's forensic accounting.
Yes, it's forensic. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's a very good effort. I don't think I'd stay that committed to doing something like that.
I don't think I could do it with all my expenses, but I'm just picking one category to work on this month. Instead of trying to tackle my whole budget,
that's good.
I'm just working on one area, and that's one of the biggest areas, really.
Yeah.
Last month, I tried to negotiate the mortgage, got it down a slight amount. But this month, we're on groceries.
Wow. Okay. You're on fire, Kate.
But I think it's a good reminder. You can't tackle your whole budget at once.
And those are the two things you do want to target as your rent or your mortgage, which is number one, financial stressor. Number two, financial stressor for most Australians is groceries. Then probably third is something related to transport like cars or
PTV is kicking my butt.
This is Public Transport Victoria for anyone that's not here in Victoria.
It's $10.50 or $60 a day.
Yeah.
Well, Queensland's 50 cents or something.
Good on you, Queensland. Yeah. Better weather too, let's be honest. Let's all just move to Queensland.
All go there.
That's what everyone's doing. Everyone's in Queensland's like, do not come up here.
So that's what I've been detoxing this month. What about you, Monique?
So I haven't done that much, but a couple of things.
But here's a list.
But here's my 10 things.
That I prepared earlier.
No, my contents insurance. I called up. Well, not called up. I just used the live chat and negotiated with them.
So that's the stuff inside your house, to clarify.
Yes, because I'm in an apartment, so the actual apartment is covered through body corporate and all that kind of stuff. So I just need to cover the content.
And you've got some valuable stuff in there.
Yeah, well, between a musician and a photographer, videographer, there's a fair bit. So I've got this whole itemized list of all of our equipment as well. But yeah, so that kind of adds up at the end of the day. So this year rolled around and I'm with whatever company it is, and it was like $100 more. And I couldn't be bothered going to compare the meerkat and doing all that. So I just called up the guys I'm with, and they charged me the same they charged as last year. I'm like, that's good enough. I'm happy with that. It just saved me time from looking around at other companies, and it still saved me something in the end.
So calling up got you $100 discount effectively because you didn't get the price increase.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did the live chat as well. So while I was editing a podcast.
Right. Business and pleasure. Okay.
On the side, Yeah.
Okay.
It's good when people have live chats to negotiate or cancel things. It's so annoying
saves time
when you sign up for something super easily online and then you have to stay on the phone for an hour to cancel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it has to be within usually business hours as well. So it's hard to find that time. So it's nice to just have that on the side. And when it pops up,
Yeah.
So you've saved $100.
You know who's really good is Aussie Broadband. Just as an FYI, I called them last night and they're office hours. They're all Australian based and their office hours, I don't know, early in the morning to 8 at night or something. I don't know. Sorry, Aussie, but it's something like that. And it's straight away you're speaking with someone. It's just incredible customer service.
That's good.
I cannot believe it.
And that's something to consider when you're signing up for a service provider or getting your finances done with a certain provider. Do they have an Australian help support centre team? How long do you typically have to wait? That kind of thing really matters when you need help.
Oh, for sure it does. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that a lot of the just the minimalist movement, whether it's a FIRE community member or someone who identifies in that way, trying to save a lot of money, you just got to, it is a balance and not everyone's the same. So some people are happy to pay, for certain types of insurances that others just aren't. And that's completely fine. And that's why, again, why we call it personal finance, because it is personal. Now, for me, I did have a bit of a long list because I did kind of, I just had my
Well, you instigated
Axe,
this whole
and then
financial
just
detox.
swung it in every direction. So
you felt like you were in
business,
need of a big
personal life,
detox.
So obviously we initiated a refinance. Nothing at all wrong with Bank of Melbourne / Westpac / St. George. They're really good to us and there's no issue with that. It was more just refinancing for other reasons. But in terms of subscriptions, we had the buffet, the whole enchilada. We had
How did you get to this point?
lifestyle inflation, Kate. So we got Netflix, Disney, which we kept, Amazon, which we kept, but it's because of the Prime membership. Because with an Amazon membership, you get free delivery, but you also get Prime Video. We had this old iPad with Optus that we would charge $100 a month for. And I totally just forgot to cancel the thing.
I feel like I remember you getting this iPad. You were so excited, like we're going to do all this cool finance stuff, but I don't think you ever used
Stan, we've regrettably cut Stan. Paramount, cut Paramount.
Why'd you have Paramount?
What's on Paramount?
I can't remember which one it's within or which one it is, but it was one of them. We also had BritBox, which we purchased through
what is
Amazon.
that? Downton Abbey.
There's some. I'm maybe the only one here that's listening to this podcast
British
and being
TV
like,
shows?
yeah, British cop shows are like 100,000 times better than American cop shows.
All right, niche.
And dramas, like
I can get
totally
around
better.
that.
Like Line of Duty, I think it is, the one in the UK.
You had 7 entertainment services.
I think there was one I'm missing. I keep looking
YouTube?
at this Apple TV. Still got Apple.
Are you paying for YouTube?
Yes.
Sheesh.
Wow. I got a digital life, man.
How can you watch that many shows a month?
Well, I'll rationalize each of them in just a second. But I also had Optus Sport because I'm a Premier League Chelsea nut. But that ended and I've since got it back. Chelsea aren't that good, so I'm debating whether to keep that. Sorry, Optus. But Netflix has a lot of good things, like Stranger Things. It's pretty easy to consume. And there's a few parasites in my family that hang off that subscription. Sorry, Netflix. So kind of got to keep it real for those folks. Disney, obviously, Marvel, and Star, which is really cool. Amazon, like I said, iPad, blah. Stan, I love that. What's the show? Australian drama based in Queensland. I think it's like White Snow, I think it is, or something like that, or Black Snow. I can't remember the name of it, but it's got the guy out of Vikings in it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Heartthrob. Paramount, I can't remember why we got that. BritBox was because of the UK dramas. So good.
But can't you just pick 1 a month or 2 a month and rotate?
This is what I'm saying. We cut most of these.
Yeah.
So you can't, I don't know. Can you cut Disney? You said you're going to cut it. It's pretty ruthless, but can you?
I'm going to cut it once the free thing is up too.
I'd probably have Disney 1 or 2 months a year if I'm in a Marvel mood, but it's not a 12-month a year
But I
subscription.
usually just wait till the shows I like come on those services and then I'll have it for a month and watch it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
get
that's
rid of
fair.
it. That's kind of my
You can
system.
often sign up for a month, pay for it, and cancel immediately, and you've still got it for the whole month. And you don't have
Exactly.
to worry about it.
I think there was a few reasons Google was invented, but one of them is if you Google the TV show and it shows you all the streaming options.
Yeah, or if you go
That's
on the
cool.
Apple TV app and search for something, it'll tell you all the streaming options too.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. But anyway, you can find some things, for example, are available on ABC iView and SBS, which they have some great content on SBS.
You can catch
Don't have any
Fisk on
podcasts, though.
ABC iView. That's a fun one.
So other than that, I've kind of, maybe I'm like a little bit of a step ahead of you on this, Kate. I've moved to fully online groceries. We talked about this last month with organic food.
Mhm.
It does cost a little bit more to get the organic food. Obviously, you don't have to do organic. But what's interesting is we probably ultimately spend less. It's like when we had, some people challenged this on socials, which is totally cool. We had HelloFresh. It actually stopped us spending more money because we didn't do a lot of those just run down the street type things. It's like with this farm box thing, it's random what veggies you get. So it kind of forces you to incorporate veggies in your meals. Otherwise, it just goes out to the chickens or whatever, if you got chickens. But anyway,
Show off.
yeah, just a subtle chicken flex.
Oh, no. I'm very jealous.
No, but seriously, it's been really good because it just forces us to eat pretty clean.
And do you have
unprocessed.
less food wastage as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Other than, because this is what we talked about last month, the month before, with the organic food, it literally goes off. So you have to eat it. Yeah. And so by the time we're recording this on a Tuesday, it comes tomorrow, everything from last week has to have been eaten basically by Sunday. Otherwise, you're done.
Yeah.
Another thing that we did this month and we've started to do, it's probably not a detox item, but we reviewed our life insurance. We did a series with Phil Thompson, who is helping the Rask community members get life insurance through Sky Financial. Wealth. And we're going through that, my partner and I. And this was actually prompted. It's a bit extreme of us to put, for me, I should say, I'll take full ownership for this one, Kate, to put 7 episodes back to back like this. But my hope was that anyone who tunes into the Australian Finance Podcast at least listened to one of those episodes and understood why you should get insurance. Like I said, I feel like I'm 60, but I'm not that old. I'm closer to half that, for those who are wondering. You two ladies are younger than me, and I've had some really bad news in our inner circle of friends and family over the last 6 months. And I'm not saying like one person, but I'm saying like half a dozen people, most of them with kids, and most of them completely uninsured or underinsured. Like, if you have default level of life insurance, income protection, if you're just relying on your super fund to do the right thing by you, pull your finger out, go into your app and check, because I guarantee you, if you have kids, it is not enough. If you have disabled family members, it is not enough. If you have a mortgage, it is not enough. And Phil makes a really good point of like, why would you pay a financial planner to do your insurance for you when you could just increase the amount inside your super fund? Because there's a chance that you increase it and 10 years down the line, when it comes to claim, you will get denied because of a medical issue that you thought, oh, I'll just do the easy thing. But I think anyone that's listening to this should at the very least review, just jump into your app. If you use Australian Superhost Plus, whatever, just download the app. It's there. It's an insurance section. Review it. I'm not saying change it, but just review it. And anyone that ever says on social media, oh, you can get this super fund and change for this for lower fees, do not do that. That is horrible, horrible advice. Why? Because you'll probably lose the insurance that you have. People don't know that, but like, if you have insurance, the idea of insurance, you mentioned it before, Mon, is that if you have insurance, you will never, ever want to claim it. So it always seems like a waste of money until it's not. And particularly for life insurance and income protection, if you get cancer, if your partner has a heart attack, a stroke, that you don't have to be as old as you think to suffer from that. And it's traumatic. So just pay the extra. And that's what, like, we are happy to pay extra for good insurance and to get good advice. And so we reviewed that this month. We also changed banks. I mentioned this, so it seems like an extreme month for Rask household. But we changed to NAB. So basically most of our banking is through NAB. It's not a recommendation. It's just what we did. We've also incorporated, we've talked a little bit more about this in recent months about using a credit card. We don't advocate for it for many obvious reasons, but we've started using one more at home to align with our velocity points that we keep accumulating. And now we're just like bursting at the seams with velocity points from every direction. But we actually triple dip on loyalty points now. So when we book holidays, we'll get Raise rewards, or we'll get all different types of things through booking.com, through Raise, through the Amex, and then you pay it off instantly. Like, it's really interesting. We cut some random gym memberships. We're going to move to Pocketsmith. Disclosure is a sponsor of the show. Disclosure, we just had a very nice lunch with them. Can suggest Coda in Melbourne. Thank you, Mitchell, for suggesting that. So those are some of the changes, but I want to just spend 30 seconds just explaining that this was wonderful, but if you're a small business owner and you do a financial detox, here's the step. Download your bank statement, read through it. That's it. End of steps. And if you do that, you will be amazed at what you can do. Like, I hadn't done that for years. Like, we do like monthly, like zero reports and that sort of stuff for our small business, but
assessing if you actually need the services.
Yeah, going back and being like we had Linktree and we also had Bitly, and both of them can do the same thing. No offense, Linktree. We also had we're paying for a CRM, and we're paying more just because we had something switched on that we'd never used. We had just random subscriptions. Like I mentioned, subscriptions here for like WordPress plugins, for like software. We needed to get more Adobe subscriptions actually, which was good for Adobe. That was like the one thing we got more of, but then we cut so many other things. And we saved thousands and thousands of dollars. And then what we also did is we renegotiated things that were really important to us. And so if you recently saw us put out an ad for a social media manager to join Rask on Instagram or LinkedIn, that has actually come about as a result of us doing the detox. And this is what we talk about when we talk about saving money on our personal budgets. People think it's about cutting, culling, living a life like a miser or a minimalist, when really that's not at all what we're talking about. What it is you take the money from the things you just simply do not value and you reprioritize towards things you do value, and you live an intentional life with your finances. And I think you can do that as a business owner as well. You can do that at any time. So that's me. That's my spiel.
That's your spiel.
One. Yes.
So you've detoxed quite a bit this month. So next month, you're going to tell us how much you've saved once you've got everything set up with PocketSmith.
Yeah, I can do that. I did have the numbers, rough numbers in here for what I saved as a business, but it's probably a bit out of context to talk about that, because we did save a lot of money from doing what we've done. And then we've also made more money by realizing that some of the things we could have done, we should have been doing better. So just like renegotiating with suppliers, renegotiating with whatever, that's really changed. And like even little things like for anyone that creates content and has like a YouTube account and earns ads, that YouTube income comes from the United States or from Singapore randomly. And there's a tax treaty between our two countries or three countries. So if you don't fill in the W-8 Ben form, which you probably would know from investing, like when you invest in US shares, you're going to have tax withheld, and you're going to have more tax withheld than you otherwise would.
And had you filled out the form?
I had filled it out, but it got denied and I didn't realize.
Uh-huh.
So
No.
this is like 4 years of YouTube ads.
Oh.
So even though it said in our YouTube account, you generated this much in advertising revenue, I was like, oh, cool.
And you've never seen the full amount.
I've never seen the full amount. And now I realize, and it's still going through the process, by the way, but at least I know about it now. And so that's one of the things I was just like,
There's
oh my
so
gosh.
much you have to keep on top of. I think that'd be an interesting episode to talk about the differences between managing your finances as an individual versus a small business owner. Because there's some things that you would approach similarly, but then there's also some really different ways you would approach spending decisions and risk-taking and how you allocate your finances.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to do that. We've got an episode coming up with Zara, who now runs Inflection and is a co-host of our Australian business podcast. So if you are interested in small business, that episode will be coming out soon.
Wonderful. So Rask Invest, what's been happening with those portfolios?
Yeah, sure. So we do the monthly update, which we can talk more about the investing side, but I think it's worthwhile just having an update for people behind the scenes. So we only launched this a little while ago, our Rask Invest platform. We are now managing over $8 million of people's money, which is very small, but growing very, very quickly. So we started only a few months ago. So you start somewhere. The average investment balance with us is just below $60,000. Depending on the strategy, it varies. Our biggest balance is nearly $1 million for one investor, and there are some balances coming into the system that will be much, much, much bigger than that, significantly bigger than that. And so that's kind of one of the things that shocks people about what we're doing is the way we invest for people is not necessarily for people that are just starting out, although that's fine too. It's more for people that want to take it much more seriously and have a professional manage it. And so we're starting to attract a lot of other professionals who are seeing what we're doing and talking about us or referring clients into our investment service. And at the same time, we're seeing more people approaching retirement come to us and SMSFs. Mitch is busier than ever. And so that's been really great. And you know, one of the things about running an investment service that's quite different to what we've done historically is that, well, one, obviously it's a lot more serious. But two is that they tend to snowball over time. So once someone's filled out an application form with us and they start investing, they're likely to turn on the dollar cost averaging, what we call a regular contribution plan, or make regular contributions through their salary, through BPay or whatever. And so we're seeing that the average amount that people have turned on, Mitch could correct me on this, but I think it's roughly $800 a month. Most people contribute. That's just the people that have flicked on the direct deposit, but there are some people who, like myself, who do BPay, like regular BPays, or split the income from the bank side rather than from the Rask Invest side, if that makes sense.
So this is a way you can implement that automated investing that we're always talking about. Ways you can improve your finances by automating all those good things that you don't want to make decisions about all the time. So if you do have a Rask Invest account and you turn on a regular contribution plan, you can have $500 go in every month and not even have to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the thing. Like we just released our annual tax statements, so that's full
that
tax
would have been
reporting.
Exciting.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love
Releasing your
tax
first
codes
batch
and
of
whatever?
tax accounts. Oh.
Yeah, but it was good. It was a good process to go through the first time doing the full comprehensive tax reports. But that plays on your point. And we had someone message through yesterday, and I was handling the inbound yesterday, and someone was like, "Can I just invest $20,000 with you, and then never do anything for 20 years and then cash it in?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course you can." I'm like, We'll send you the tax statement. You just fill that in, like in MyGov or in your for your accountant. Done. No need to hear it. We're going to still update you every month on how the portfolio is going, but you don't ever need to log in again. Basically, we obviously want them to engage more in their finances, but that is one cohort that we have of people, and it's not necessarily 20,000. It can be 2 million. There's a big cohort that's like that. So it's typically like friends of people that would listen to the show, not necessarily the person listening to the show, like not necessarily us. It is the friend or the family member who just wants somewhere to go and someone to take care of it. So we do have that cohort. And then obviously there's the cohort of, listen, I love investing in ETFs and I love doing this stuff, but I just want you to do it. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest one of all. Now, that's the update from Rask Invest. You can find out more. There is a product disclosure statement and a PDS. I was just trying to give you general information there. Speak to your advisor if you are unsure of what a PDS is, or you can read the PDS yourself.
And we'll have our market update video coming in the next week or two where we give everyone an overview of what's been happening in the economy over the last month.
Oh, yes.
So,
economy.
Owen's favourite time of the month.
Monique's excited about that one.
Yeah, she loves editing that one.
Oh, yes.
What else is happening? I think you put this down on this, Monique did. Two great Rask podcasts.
Yes. So I put down that Dave Gow's 2-part episode came out on the Investors podcast.
I think so. Yes. I did.
It's a lot to stay on top of sometimes, but that's been really well received. We also released an episode on our top lessons from a decade of share investing on the Finance podcast earlier this week, which was really fun to put together and reflect on because you do learn a lot investing in shares, and sometimes the lessons are quite expensive and quite hard. So that's a good episode to listen to. And we've also launched the Australian Retirement Podcast. So even if it's not up your alley, it might be something you want to send to friends or family that are getting closer to retirement, because it's a whole nother kettle of fish.
Yeah, so the Australian Retirement Podcast launched with 2 financial advisors, Drew Meredith, otherwise known as Dr. Andrew Derrimouth, and James O'Reilly, who has appeared on the show before. You might also know Siobhan, who has appeared on the show more often than James, and they're from Northeast Wealth. So we've got 2 financial advisors and their teams that run the Australian Retirement Podcast, and there's 10 introductory episodes, and then it'll be weekly Q&A and case studies and experts and the like. But that actually broke all of our records. We haven't launched a podcast in its own series in quite a while, but that one broke any of the records that we previously had around how popular the first episode was, how many thousands of people tuned in for the first episode. That's been really popular and extremely popular on YouTube. So that's been really great to see. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it'd have to be close maybe to 5,000, maybe more people tuned in for the first episode. So, which straight out of the gates is like, we get that on these podcasts, like every episode, well and truly, but
for a first episode in a new podcast.
Yeah.
That was like, whoa, what's happening?
yeah. So it shot straight up the charts. So that's great. So credit to you, Mon.
Oh, yes. It's all me.
It's all pizza. Put that all together. And Drew did okay. James was great. No, that's been great, and it's been really well received. And we've got more things like that coming soon. So keep your eye out. By the time we do this episode next month, Money and Chill next month, people might actually see a totally different look and feel. So a different feel to the episodes.
You're getting a haircut.
No. Maybe. But no. No, we will be doing our rebrand should have been implemented by the time this next episode comes in. We're keeping the Rask name. Everything else stays the same podcast, same everything. The difference will be how it looks. And I'm super excited about this because, Kate, it has been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah. We're just a couple of war horses, you and I. We're just dealing with the 4 primary colors in the Rask logo. It's iconic, but that may change. So keep an eye out, and we're super excited to bring Sophie's creations to life. Community post. We've got a lot of action going on.
Yes. Well, our friend Tim posted 6 years of his dinner lists on the Rask community, and also shared a PDF of all the different ideas that he's had over the years. So how to use a Trello system, so some sort of project management board to make your meal prep and planning easy, and also keep track of recipes and cut your grocery costs down. So there is a lot of ideas if you are needing some in there, but lots of fun things getting shared in the community. Let me just
double click on this. So Tim, g'day, my friend. It's good to read this out. So you said, basically we start with a week's worth of meals, then add a tab for groceries and create a list. When the next week comes around, we move all the cards in this list to the section for past week's dinner lists, which has created some 2,000 entries over time. So he's shared a crazy number of meals and ideas that him and his family have been eating over time. And he said, he did give a shout out to you, Kate, and Recipe Tin Eats. So basically he says you can take what the ideas I've given you, and then they're probably on one of those websites, and you can get a simple step-by-step instruction.
Yeah.
So that was great. What else was interesting from the community?
Speaking of Recipe Tin Eats, I've had a few additional successes, because it hasn't failed me yet. I did a slow-cooked brisket.
Okay.
That was really good. Didn't cost too much for a cut of meat, and it lasted for many, many meals. Very impressive.
Well done to you.
I felt very good about myself when I did it. I made potato dauphinoise, which is the layered potatoes with cream in between and herbs and things like that.
Fancy.
Really tasty, and I think that'll be a good one for Christmas Day. And what else? We made a chickpea curry. That was a Recipe Tin Eats special. I think they're the main ones I've made in the last week.
Wow. Okay, you're on fire.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cook Campbell.
Recipe Tin Eats. You just can't.
Okay.
I'm emailing Naji, and I would love her on the podcast. If anyone knows Naji from Recipe Tin Eats, let me know.
Yeah, shout out. Let's get in contact.
I'm her biggest fan. She's turned me from someone who does not know how to cook, and everyone just knew me as the person who couldn't cook. And now I'm actually semi-confident.
You're a superstar.
And I've been told that I follow a recipe pretty well.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
That's is there a higher compliment?
You don't throw me in MasterChef yet. I can't sort of put something together with a good flavor profile. But if I have a recipe, it's just like maths. I just follow the steps and I get to
Fair enough.
the answer.
Yes. No HSP though, am I right, Monique?
Stop it. Can't beat a HSP.
Okay, so interesting finds and resources from this month. We'd like to share some resources that we find outside of our own podcasts, of course, that we've been listening to, or things we've revisited, read, tools, anything like that. And we also like to share some of what you have to say as well. But this month, Kate, you do have a book that I have heard the title of before.
Yes. So I shared this in our book episode the other day, but it's The Wealth Money Can't Buy by Robin Sharma. Now, I've been listening to this as an audiobook, and I think it's probably really best listened to as an audiobook because the stories are short and they each have a different lesson. And Robin talks about all of these things that money can't be traded for, like relationships and health, not in a direct way. And so I think if you are a bit further on in your investing and money journey, there's a lot of reminders here of things you need to remember along the way that aren't just, let's find a better ETF to put our money in. They're reminders to work on the way you interact with people and how you look at the world and how you work on your health and your well-being. So there's a lot of reminders in there. And I did like one of the quotes he had in the book of, are you at risk of ending up cash rich and wealth poor? And he also, by that, he's talking about all the other forms of wealth we have in our lives, like our family and our health.
Chickpea recipes.
Yes, chickpea recipes.
Yeah.
And I also really enjoyed the Financially Fierce podcast run by the wonderful financial advisor, Jess Brady. Episode 129 was called Friends with Benefits, Normalizing Healthy Money Chats with Friends.
Cool.
So I thought that would be a really good one to listen to as well. I don't think we've covered that topic exactly. So it'd be a really good one for people to tune into how to talk to your friends about money. It's hard. But
I might ask
good.
Jess about it.
Yeah.
I'm catching up with her next week.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So there will be an episode coming out on the Rask Network with Jess Brady, but she's wonderful. She appeared at our Sydney event for those folks that came along to the wonderful event we had last year in Sydney.
I'd say her podcast is one of my favorites at the moment in
Really?
the Australian space.
Really? That's
Yes.
a very big compliment.
It is.
Okay, so Financially Fierce. She's also on Instagram. You can head to our website for Jess Brady as well. She does like group money coaching and these types of things as well. Mon, anything from you?
Well, not really.
Okay.
But
Monique told me she had listened to some things.
yeah, so it's not really relatable. Maybe it is. Maybe I'll cut this bit out. But I've been listening to this. They're a band, a duo, whatever, called Sophie Tucker, and they came up on my feed this morning, and they were talking about their new album. It's called Bread.
Bread.
It stands for Be Really Energetic and Dance. The whole thing about bread is that people will sit around a table, have dinner, and bread is always a centerpiece. So it brings people together. And I thought that was really wholesome.
Okay.
So I've been listening to this album and I'm like, oh, this is actually really wholesome. And I like them.
Okay, so Sophie Tucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bread.
That
Yeah.
seems relatable, Monique.
Yeah,
we
good.
all listen to music.
Yeah. That's what we
I
need
actually
from
met
you.
them the other week too.
Oh,
so I'm a
did
little
you?
bit of a
Oh,
fan.
that's not relatable.
Starstruck. Okay.
That is another subtle flex.
That's good. I also,
Chickens, Sophie Tucker.
Yeah. I also
Where's my
like how
celebrity?
she's like, I might cut this out and then didn't. You know, that's the key. That's the power.
I might
that-
still cut it out.
Look at that power.
When
She's
do
just
I
like-
get to meet a celebrity?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe you get to meet Jess Brady.
Yeah, she's a pretty cool celebrity.
Which is pretty cool. So I've been listening to a few episodes. Been doing a few long runs lately. That's the lingo that the people that do the runs tell me.
10K plus?
Yeah, mate.
Oh,
Yeah,
good job.
yeah. So I've been, and normally when I do that on my Apple Watch, I download as many podcasts as I can before I go for my run. How's this? I was on like a 18K run the other day, and there was like a trail run through the hills, and I was running. And I get to within 100 meters of home and the watch runs out of battery. And I'm like, you son of a gun.
Oh, does that mean it didn't track the run?
Well, I thought that because previously it hadn't, but I think I've had an update where it does record back to like 500 meters ago. So at least I got most of it. But I was still trying so hard, over 2 hours to push my time. And I got to the end, I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, I load podcast episodes onto my watch as well as some music, and I just go, and it's great. And I have my AirPods in. But I've listened to what I've been binging lately is The Knowledge Project, which I talk about a bit. There's this fantastic episode that came out recently. The title is not How to Tell a Story, but this is what it's about, how to tell a story. And it's with a guy called Matthew Dix. And he talks about just the different ways to take your audience, whether it's someone at work, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's a professional speech you got to do, a podcast, how to take someone on a journey and how to actually do that in a way that's storytelling and not just like, I did this, I rocked up here, this happened, or this is the story. It's like, that's very chronological. It's not like that. They also replayed one of their most popular episodes of all times, which was with Esther Perel. And there was this wonderful thing in there, and I thought this tied together quite nicely with an episode that you did with Marie Vakakis, who I'm catching up with next week. I'm very excited about that too. You and Marie did this episode about relationships and money, and it was quite a while ago, but there was a snippet which we might play here, Monique.
And coming at it with what you need rather than what the person's not doing. So I had a couple I was working with this week. I'll change the story a bit so that it doesn't identify them. But instead of saying, like, they might go at each other on the couch, you're always on your phone. And the person, no, I'm not. You're always on your phone. And they start fighting about that. But when we slowed it down, it's like, what I hear you saying is, I want to connect with you. I haven't spent time with you all day. If you go to your partner with that, that's a very different response. Mm. So they were attacking their partner with kind of criticism, like, you're always on your phone, because they were annoyed. And then they wanted to spend time with their partner, but if you go out, well, fine, I've turned my phone off. Now what? The moment's gone, right? You're not going to want to hang out. But if you came at it, and we had to coach this through the session of try phrasing it with what you mean. Mm. I'm feeling disconnected from you. I haven't spent time with you all day. Can we have a chat? That's what you actually want. Yeah. It's not, you're always on your phone. So those kinds of conversations is the difference. So it's actually, instead of saying, you never care about my finances or you never ask me how I'm budgeting, it could be like, it's really important for me that we're on the same page about our shared goals. Can we have a chat about our upcoming holiday budget?
Yeah.
It's very different to saying, you never want to talk about finances with me.
And so the basic takeaway from this episode with Maria and this snippet is all about when someone like says something to you, like they might criticize you like under their breath or they get frustrated. And it comes back to this phrase that I heard from Esther Perel, who also talked about relationships and building relationships and these types of things in this episode that she did on the Knowledge Project. And she has this line, which is, behind every criticism is a wish. So when we hear someone say something like, oh, you're always on your phone, there's normally an ulterior motive to that, or I wish, I save more money, or like I don't save enough money. Well, the wish is, I wish I did save more money. I think a lot of people take criticism as on its face value and don't recognize what the actual message is. And when people give a criticism, they also don't recognize what the message is. They don't have a better way to say it with the words and their vocabulary. So it comes out as a criticism. And I would encourage anyone that kind of is on the receiving end of, you're always on your phone on the couch.
You might be, though.
You might be. And indeed I am, but I cop this one a lot. And I was like, so what is the other person actually telling me?
Well, they probably want to spend more time with you.
Exactly.
And
so
you disappear into a little phone world.
And rather than just take the literal words, what is the intent? And I think that's something that's really interesting. So I love that episode. I love all those episodes. There was one final episode, which I'll mention from the Knowledge Project, which was scaling culture from startup. And this was the CEO of HubSpot. HubSpot's like, for those people that aren't in marketing or tech, it's like a platform that does everything for a small business. So like their marketing, when you get an SMS alert for a new product, or when you make a phone call, it might go through a system and then they can look up your name in their systems. That's HubSpot. And the CEO of that is a guy called Brian Halligan. He's a co-founder of that. And he talks about his near-death experience in this interview on the Knowledge Project and how that then prompted him to step back from running the business and what he did. And he talks about the different stages of scaling. Finally, you and I have been having a bit of a tussle about this one, Kate. You've been reading How Not to Lose $1 Million by John Addis.
Yes.
The author of the recent book from Major Street Publishing, How Not to Lose $1 Million. Brilliant book for anyone that's interested in share investing. Absolutely cannot recommend it more highly. Now, he's coming in. I've organized for him to come into the Rask studio and do an interview with me, but you've said, well, maybe you could just, maybe I could do it too.
Well, I wanted him for the finance podcast and Owen wanted him for the investors podcast.
This is a fight.
So we may be compromising in both doing it.
We might have to split John down the middle. So John, if you're listening, we're going to have to do 2 podcasts.
He doesn't know this yet.
He doesn't know this. So this is news to him. But he's such a lovely guy. And this book, How Not to Lose $1 Million, this comes from a guy that has spent 25 years. He is the founder of the online subscription and community called The Intelligent Investor. Not to be confused with the book, The Intelligent Investor, but the online community.
Inspired, not related.
Inspired, not related. Yeah. So it's a value investing community and subscription service. And John and different people have been running it through time for 25 years. And he shares all of the lessons from some of their real big blow-ups, some of their companies that they bought and then sold, but then they went on to do so well, and so many different examples. And John is I reckon, like I've said this publicly, I reckon he's probably, if not the best, he's one of the best investment writers in the country, and I have so much time for him. And it's a great book. It's on sale on Amazon at the time of recording. A bit like your book, actually.
Maybe it's going to be on sale on Booktopia because I hear they're coming back from the dead.
Really?
Yes. Someone bought
the
them.
Phoenix rises from the ashes.
Someone purchased Booktopia and they're doing all this marketing right now saying we're back.
We're back, baby.
Actually, I just looked at their website. It says we're back. It's the front banner. So
okay.
Australia's home of books
Rejoice.
Returns for a fresh chapter under new ownership.
Okay.
So there you go.
Love it.
The website doesn't work apart from that. You can't scroll.
Okay. Let's end it there.
Yes,
but they're back. So Booktopia's back, baby. That's great news, actually. It's really wonderful. But check out the book, How Not to Lose $1 Million. Check out the community at community.rask.com.au. We've got some wonderful discussions in there. And that's all about us just communicating directly with you on a daily basis. So wonderful things from everything from podcast recommendations to 2,000 dinner/cooking ideas from Tim, to which ETF is good for what, to how to build a diversified portfolio, what's the latest in the Australian property market. You name it, it's in there. You can come say good day. It's free to join. That's probably the best way to get in contact, as well as send us what you're doing with your detox. I'd be really interested. I'm after some free tips.
Owen needs to make it look really impressive when he shares the gritty details next month.
Yes.
But I think we better let people get on with their day, Owen. We've taken enough of their time here. So it's been wonderful.
It's been wonderful. Well, Monique Pizzica, thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
And Kate, as always, a pleasure.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for watching this video on the Rask Network. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get videos each and every day on business, finance, investing, and so much more.